It seems like this free agency period has kind of moved a little bit slower since its initial March opening. I know we discussed before. I think it was mid June, early June, I think it was June 1st when like the signings no longer factor into the draft compensation for comp
Right.
picks. I know we thought there was going to be a whole lot of action. We were trying to stay on active on Twitter to see like what was going on, what was going to be, and there was just nothing. And then I feel like recently we saw the whole circus with DeAndre Hopkins visiting with the Tennessee Titans, him in the limo. There was a story about the Patriots, and there was that whole thing. Where's Dalvin Cook going to sign? He's for sure going to Miami. Oh, there's not going to be a hometown discount. But, I mean, again, there's been no movement on that.
Yeah.
So
Nothing.
I do kind of want to read you a couple, list of names that we found that we were looking through that are kind of surprising to us that, these guys are still unsigned. And then I want to get your thoughts and opinions about why. So free agents currently still available. These guys are, as of July 2nd, still available. Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Hopkins, Jarvis Landry, Marcus Peters, Carlos Dunlap, Yannick Ngakoue, Jadeveon Clowney, Robert Quinn, Shelby Harris, who was involved in the Seahawks Denver trade. He was sent from Denver to Seattle.
Okay.
Miles Jack, and Robbie Gould. I'm curious to see what your opinion is about why these guys are still free. Why are teams, not trying to make any last minute improvements?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Emmett, that's a good question because my Chicago Bears should be signing almost every edge rusher that's on that damn list right now. Don't know why they haven't. This is some of the names you kind of brought up there, and I'm looking at this list here too. I feel like obviously the biggest driving factor for these guys not being signed right now is some of them are like older, right? Like the Clowney, I think Dunlap is up there in age. Bobby Quinn's like 32, 33 right now. So that's probably the biggest driving factor. I'm curious on why, like you talked about Hopkins and Cook, right? Mm-hmm. Lots of conflicting stories out there, especially with DeAndre Hopkins. When he started this whole process, he said he wants to go to a team that he can win a ring with, whatever. He visited those teams, the Chiefs and Bills. He probably didn't like the price tag that they offered him. And he's like, you know what? I don't really want a ring that bad anyways. The Titans look pretty good. So I think
Tennessee's in Super Bowl contention right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that goes into my second factor is maybe some of these guys are asking for a little bit too much money, right? Teams aren't willing to budge, especially maybe on like a Hopkins who's 32 now, even though he's very talented, a little bit older. And then we talked about the state of the running back spot for a few weeks now. Cook, I mean, he's still 27. You and I believe he should be given a pretty good contract. For some reason, the NFL hates running backs right now for whatever reason. So that's probably the other reason, too, is maybe these guys aren't seen as very valuable pieces to the roster right now.
Yeah. I mean, I get the age thing, too, and I understand, like, running backs aren't valued too much. But, I mean, even if you look at, Carlos Dunlap, who's a little older, you mentioned Bobby Quinn being 32. I mean, why you could probably get him for $2 million a year. I mean, these guys are unsigned. I assume they would take that deal over, not playing anymore.
Dude, I would take Quinn right now. Bring him right back, dude. He's got 20 sacks for us 2 seasons ago.
I know. I mean, that just kind of furthers the point. It's kind of surprising. I mean, again, like Jadeveon Clowney, you're telling me if I'm San Francisco, right, and I want another D lineman, I can't sign Clowney for $2 million a year to be even if he's your third string end. I mean, that's a great third string end to have.
Dude, he would start for the Bears right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we know about obviously our two teams' needs. I'm sure there are plenty of other teams out there. Like, why aren't the Eagles calling some of these guys? Why aren't you're telling me no one needs Marcus Peters? I mean, that
is surprising. Yeah.
I mean, again, the 49ers definitely could use another corner just for the competition's sake. You're telling me you can't get Marcus Peters for $4 or $5 million? I mean, I'm just kind of baffled by it, so I don't know if, maybe at this point teams are like, hey, we feel comfortable with what we have. We don't feel like paying any more money to what these guys are. But I mean, again, like I said, I'm very surprised. Jarvis Landry, why is he not in Chicago already?
Well, yeah. To your point, it goes back to like age and going back to Marcus Peters too. He just turned 30, and 30 is like 50 for the cornerbacks. I know. Hey, I trust me.
I mean, again, no, I get what you're saying. Like, I can understand these guys are free agents for a reason. They're a little bit older. Totally good. But these guys aren't 36. I mean, we're not talking about a guy that's at the very end of his career. Like, you're telling me Marcus Peters is still going to be a great number 2 corner?
Oh, he could be a good two,
Right.
three. Like
Like,
I'd love to have him.
exactly. That's kind of my. I mean, I'm not saying these guys need to come in and be your like, this is our new wide receiver one, but like, Jarvis Landry can't come in and like compete for a slot position, and like the leadership he brings, the experience he brings to a young team. I mean, that's another weapon for Fields. Where Marcus Peters can't come in and elevate a quarterback or a cornerback room. Like I said, that's why it's very surprising to me because these guys aren't ancient. Like they probably still have like 2 to 3 or 4, maybe more years of great to good football play in them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just a matter of, teams now are like, hey, we've drafted, we've gone through free agency, we know what we want. And it could also be the opposite of, maybe we're thinking of the wrong way too. Maybe we're thinking from a team perspective. We're not thinking from a player perspective. These players maybe don't want to sign until after OTAs because that's supposed to be,
Yeah, they don't want to show up.
yeah, they're like, just call us when the preseason's done. We'll come play then.
Well,
But
to your point too about Landry, I mean, him and Beckham Jr. were in the same class, right?
yeah,
And then didn't Odell just get like an $18 million per year contract or like a 1 year or 2 year
yeah.
deal
After not
with the
playing the last
Ravens?
2 years too.
Yeah, like they're. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I would probably have a Beckham Jr. over a Landry based off
Yeah.
like skill wise, whatever. But Landry's not bad,
No.
you
I
know.
mean, again, why not join him in Baltimore? Baltimore can't use another weapon, another slot weapon.
Yeah, they can. He can mentor the kid they just got from Boston College,
Rashay Rice.
Zay. Oh, was it? Is it Rasheed
No,
Rice
it's
or is it
you're right. It's right. It was right. Zay
Flowers?
Flowers. You're
Yeah,
right. Zay Flowers. Rashay Rice went to the Chiefs.
they can
Yeah, you can
come. They can
mentor
bring
him.
him
Like,
in, mentor him, whatever. Boom.
yeah, let's say. I mean, again, I doubt he's coming in at $10 million a year. So
I don't
again, I
know.
really, huh?
I said I don't. I don't. The only thing I know is selfishly going back to my Bears. Call up Clowney, Bobby Quinn, Dunlap. I don't care, dude. You know what I mean?
You know what? I wonder. If it's not a matter of these teams looking at the future with the salary cap kind of issues coming up.
You think so?
I'm kind of wondering about that because again, there's a lot of too many big names on here to not be even like signed for a backup role. I mean,
Well,
again, Miles Jack, you want to take him as your like linebacker 4. So I wonder if it's not a matter of some of these teams. Maybe you're kind of like looking at the future of, well, we've got this cap coming down. Like, we really want to sign Miles Jack to an extra $5 million over the next 3 years, and be locked into that.
yeah. Well, the way I view it is like a lot of these guys on this list are 1 or 2 year deals at like max. Like
Yeah,
I'm not signing Clowney for a 3 year deal. Like he's a good plug and play right now for this upcoming season, and then address like Ryan Poles is off
I mean,
season.
I
Find your
I feel
long
like I'd
term
probably
answer.
do it. I'd
Mm.
probably do 3 for 9. I'd probably. I
Um,
mean, again, now, would Jadeveon Clowney do that? I doubt he would. I'm sure he would rather do a 1 year deal over that and have a good year and just do this again year after year. But I mean, if I can get Jadeveon Clowney for $4 million or $3 million a year for the next 2 or 3, I mean, why not? He's still going to be producing for you. He's still a dude that's got talent.
yeah. Through the eyes of like, for example, like Ryan Poles, I don't think he ever would like do that for a 30-year-old end, but I think he should sign up for at least a 1 year deal. He's a guy, he likes to draft his own guys and bring them
Yeah,
like within the org. Like he
yeah,
let go of everyone over the age of like 28, I feel like last season when he just
yeah. But
tore everything down. Like
they're like in a deep rebuild. But I mean, okay, let's take another team. It's a team that neither of us support here. Let's take the Saints. Right, they're a team that's got some better. I mean, Landry was just on the Saints. I
yeah, he
mean,
was.
you
Yeah.
have Olave, you have Michael Thomas there. Maybe again, we're not very familiar with the Saints roster. Like I just said, we're not Saints fans. But I mean, you're telling me like you can't bring Landry back? I mean,
Yeah.
did he not have a good year last year? I mean, did he?
I don't even know what even happened to Landry. Like he was on the Saints last I've heard, like last season, right? Like
Yeah, he
wasn't
was
just
just
last season.
Yeah, he
and
was
then
just on.
now he's just floating out there. I think too, it's a lot of these defensive guys are going to be like mid-season, like plug and plays for a lot of teams. Like I
Yeah.
remember the
Ooh,
Eagles. I think it was Eagles who brought in Sue during
yeah.
like their playoff push. So I could see like a Robert Quinn, a Clowney getting signed mid-season if a team loses a few guys, who get hurt or whatever. It's harder to do that, I feel like, for offensive players because they obviously got to learn a playbook.
That's
You
true.
guys were a lot smarter than us, defensive guys. So I can see especially these edge rushers again signed as the season just kind of goes along because
Mhm.
of roster moves and whatnot.